Say some dumb shit. Oh, hey!
Yes, you do.
Oh, hey, it turns out I am actually a game gremlin. You laugh, but I'm making that the intro.
Leave work behind and pull up a chair, my friend, because it's finally time for Games and Trades!
What are we talking about, Rick?
Okay, so we played Galileo Galilei tonight. That's what we're talking about,
Are
Chad.
you sure that's how it's pronounced?
I'm pretty sure. Nick?
Close enough.
Nick seems to think it's Galileo
I
Galilei.
don't know. I don't speak whatever that
It's
is.
Galileo
Italian.
Galilei.
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 It's Italian.
I don't speak Italian.
Oh, well. The best...
I only speak bad English.
As is true of most of us. So this game, I really like this game. I'll put this down so Chad doesn't have to gremlin anymore. I really like this game. I was turned on to this game by somebody at a board game sale in Cincinnati, and I had to run over and get it because it came out like the week after said sale. And I was just kind of blown away when I had a chance to play it the first time. Really impressed by the box, especially when we talk about a game that doesn't have like super over the top components and is pretty, I don't want to say simplistic, but it's definitely a game that could have been overproduced into something that was like $60 or $70, but is actually a pretty reasonable $40 or $50 box.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. A lot of games with this many systems are going to have like just bigger boards and bigger tiles and more icons and
Miniatures,
7 different kinds of meeples. Yeah.
I kind of feel like we're in a little bit of a renaissance with. We had a period in gaming where everything was super overproduced, right? Like we have giant games that were giving us loads of miniatures. As I look in the back of the camera at Foundations of Rome, which I can see on the top of my shelf, and
That speaking of like overdone,
yeah,
like that's like the most.
oh, agree.
Because that game could literally be a Monopoly board and like some Tetris tiles.
Well, I mean, they remade it as a cardboard tile game, but regardless,
yeah,
I feel like we're in a renaissance of games being a little more simplistic and being a little more value for the box.
I feel like we're always in a renaissance because we're Renaissance men.
Yeah, that's true. But going back to this game specifically, so want to talk about all of our impressions of this game after you just watched our playthrough. First of all, I want to talk about like who is this game for? Who's going to enjoy this game? Galileo Galilei.
Right there, to everyone, Galileo Galilei.
To everyone. I like it.
Yeah, to everyone. That's what it says. It doesn't say I own your roof. It's poor handwriting. What do you do, Nick?
I think
cursive.
number one.
I'm a what's the Gen Zers called? I'm a Zoomer.
I have no idea what they call themselves or what anybody else calls them.
Yeah, I don't know. That's also not true.
I think that this is despite the fact that the box looks like a beige Euro game, I think once you actually get into it, especially when you get into some of the cards, I think that the production value of it is actually pretty good. And if you're a space enthusiast, I think that this is something you're going to like as you get a chance to experience some of the constellations, planets, especially as they were understood back in the time of Galileo. I think this is something that you might really be into.
I think, speaking of Euros and it looking like a Euro, I mean, I think that's true. I think this is a Euro, but I think it's like maybe on the more accessible scale of it.
I think
maybe
so.
This is like a Euro gateway.
I don't know about a Euro gateway, but maybe it's like a Euro like stepping stone. I think for sure. I think there's a lot of interesting management that you're getting into in this game, like with the dice management, with the kind of planning how you're going to do your constellations versus your major discoveries versus balancing the Inquisition. I think that as you kind of level up your Euro game, I think this is definitely it's not an end game like something like Barrage, but it's definitely like a good medium weight Euro type experience.
Definitely introduces you to the multi-system kind of thinking.
Yeah,
but not in an overloading kind of way. I don't think.
Yeah, in a way, it reminds me of when you're doing like Lords of Waterdeep and you're going from the base game of Lords of Waterdeep where you're just trying to do point salad to where you're then going to something like using the corruption system to kind of push the envelope on how far you can go on the corruption system. That's what I feel like this has perfected, a system like that, where you are trying to push your luck with the Inquisition a little bit, seeing how many points you can score without getting big negative endgame points.
We need one of, those boards where they say, like, days since the last accident, and then you always see them mark it out and put 0.
I can't wait to hear where this is going.
We need one of those for videos since Rick mentioned Lords of Waterdeep.
It's true.
Just leave it.
I mean, but
it can be printed on there.
I have a personal vendetta against that game, so every time I hear that
Rick
name,
loves it.
But
yes,
yeah,
because they played it 20 times the Gen Con it was released.
I played it one time and I
I
don't
got
even remember
slaughtered
playing
it every time.
it's just one of
I'm not sure I even played it once.
it's one of those games where it's so easy to reference because it's just a base level worker placement game. Like, it's so easy to see the progression.
It's also ubiquitous too.
It is absolutely ubiquitous game. Yeah.
That was like the first big must-buy Gen Con game 10,
Oh,
12 years ago.
Oh,
Whatever.
longer than that, bro.
Oh, longer now. That was like 13, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
It was.
I remember you guys playing it in the hotel lobby that night. It was
Oh
like
my
2
God.
a.m. and I'm like, I'm going to bed. You guys have fun with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like it's taken a system like that we saw so many years ago and has just kind of refined it into a really neat piece of a medium weight Euro game.
Yeah, I think that goes back to something I said a couple videos ago, where it kind of like just absorbs into I don't know what the proper word is, the Zeitgeist maybe, like that's just
Zeitgeist,
that's just part of games now, so
Yeah.
it's really taken that and benefited from those earlier games like Lords of Waterdeep, where this is kind of taking the tools that you have today and making something new with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think they do a great job.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, let's talk about like what are the critical hits of this game. What are like the real upshots that we saw?
I like the boards.
Mm-hmm.
The moving the telescope to choose your action is just restrictive enough. It's not like crazy restrictive. Sometimes you can really feel like you're in a hole. Like, I really need to do this turn, but I can't. So this way you have a few options. And since you're taking an action from the top and the bottom, like you can kind of, massage the actions that you're taking over rounds and kind of planning rounds. But I mean, planning multiple rounds ahead might still be difficult, but you at least have options. Like if I upgrade now, the next turn I'll be able to do this, and then it's just enough restriction without feeling hemmed in too much, but also without being overloaded.
I love rondel games. I really love rondel games, and I love the fact that this is a shifting rondel game because it's the way that it gives you two axes on which to move, and I really love that. So not only are you trying to plan how you're going to move your telescope to give you the most amount of benefit throughout the game, but you're also planning on how you're going to be moving your secondary abilities to be able to maximize every single turn, because it really is like if your engine stalls out in the mid game or near the end game, it really puts you at a disadvantage. So you really are really encouraged to think about both of those axes that you're moving your rondel on and make sure that you are maximizing all of your turns.
Let's talk about that for a second. What you said at some point that your engine stalled out. Do you remember like what happened?
I was not, well, yeah, it was when I started running out of dice. So there was a point in the mid game where I was using the universities and the libraries to advance my dice. And that's kind of what I was relying on. But when those dried up and I didn't have as many in my library and I wasn't importing as many dice, that's when I was having to rely more on the rondel to give me more dice. And that was limiting my ability to put dice on my board and upgrade them in the same turn. Early on, I was able to do a lot of that to great effect, but then I kind of stalled out a little bit because I didn't have as much of the sequencing that I needed to be able to do it.
Yeah, I really liked the Rondels too. They were a great band.
Oh yeah, I remember their 2025 hit, Galileo Galilei.
I don't think so. I think they were like 60s, maybe 50s even. Yeah.
Another, yeah. For me, another hit of this game is I love that there are different ways to attack it. There are a lot of ways to go at scoring points in this game, and I think that is a really strong element of it. You could really go at the Inquisition. You could really go at upgrading some of your libraries to score your different point multipliers. Just a lot of different ways to score, a lot of different ways to think about this game. And I think that when taken in concert with your kind of two-axis rondel, it just gives you so many ways to think about this game and really give yourself a lot of cool opportunities to explore different paths to victory.
I think the Inquisition's interesting because if you don't pay attention to it, it's not one of those mechanics where like you just don't advance much.
Mm-hmm.
It actually hurts you quite a lot, or it can. But if you work the Inquisition, I think that's really powerful.
It is. I agree.
Super powerful. Like I scored tons of points on that, and I could have scored way more if I had, put a couple more guys on. I was afraid of getting them.
Yeah.
And then once I realized, I was like, okay, all I got to do is this, and then you get points
Yep.
at home. So.
And that's where like the sequencing is so important. Like if you just take the actions where you're trying to persuade your Inquisition kind of willy-nilly without thinking about how you can get maximum benefit in every turn, you're going to start falling behind. But if you're really good with your sequencing and you can get a couple of those persuades in every turn, you can keep yourself neutral or you can advance and I think really do some cool things with the Inquisition, despite the fact that at first glance it's a really scary push your luck mechanic.
Yeah, I think you need to stack some persuades early to try to get out of those real negative points.
Yeah.
But then once you do that, even if you got a couple times, like there was once or twice where I didn't persuade because I had guys low and I was like, well, I'm not going to get any points anyways. But if I had done that, I would have been further up the board. And then the next time I persuaded, I would have got more points. So I think it would have been beneficial.
That's the last thing I will talk about as far as like the hits for this game is that especially with Euro games, right, that are supposed to be a little thinkier, a little crunchier. One of the things I really measure them on is how much, after I'm done with the game, how much am I thinking about it and thinking about like if I had just attacked the game slightly differently or if I had done something slightly differently or thought about my engine a little bit differently, how would it have changed? And those were for me all the best Euro games is just where did I miss? And I'm thinking about that. The games that I don't come back to are the games that don't give me that feeling.
You know what hits that for me? It's not a Euro. It's a roll and write called Three Sisters. And I'm 100% convinced that there is an optimal play in that game, and I have no idea what it is.
Haven't found it yet? I mean, yeah, the thinking about the game after the game and how to attack it, I think, is just one of the hallmarks of excellent game design.
Yeah.
It just keeps you coming back for more and keep thinking about it.
Yeah.
So let's talk about fumbles. Where does this game kind of come up short? Where does it maybe not deliver as much as we would like for it to?
And then I didn't really see any fumbles. Like everything felt pretty good and looked pretty good. The artwork is very muted, which is usually not that great of a thing, but it does use some good contrast and still kind of looks good.
Well, it looks like it's from the time period that it's
Yeah, it kind of
it makes really good usage of a lot of bright, the bright tan color of like what looks like paper, but then juxtaposed against all of the planet cards are night sky, so they stand out really, really.
A lot of
really
warm colors that go well with the cooler space looking stuff too.
Yeah, and while I agree, I definitely agree, Nick, that like it's all period appropriate as far as like the board and everything. It's just and maybe it's just to make the cards stand out more, but the board itself is just so awfully beige Euro-y. But I mean, it does make a really nice contrast with all these like neat space cards that are giving you like all the different like major discoveries and constellations and everything. So if I look at these things versus like looking at the back that may end up in your library and looking at the board I'm going to awkwardly pick up and take a look at, like, so it's a double-edged sword for me. It's like the board itself is just here. It's beige, but
I do like the sellers and the color gradients that they use in those. I think those look good.
Yeah, but despite the beige, it does make the real focuses, what should be the focuses of the game, which is the discoveries, makes it really pop. But that being said, if you're a new gamer and you're looking at this box, I don't know that you're like running out to like, I have to have this game.
The cover maybe. Yeah, the back looks okay because it's showing some of the pieces and you get some of those contrasts. And
you get some of that, but like if this is on the shelf at your local game stores,
the sell of the game is definitely space. The space science theme is the sell of the game
for sure.
And I think it's going to stay a niche game. It's not. You're not going to run out and pick it up because it says Star Wars on it and has Boba Fett standing.
Oh man, well.
Rim over Chad's shoulder. Yes, if you have any interest in the subject matter at all, I think you pick it up and you buy it.
But I think if Boba Fett was in this game, maybe it would be like it would.
Already be talking.
Yeah. No, just the
Wouldn't
after.
Wouldn't it be great
if
just like one of the cards had like what's the name of his ship? Like in the background,
Slave One.
Slave One. What if it's just Slave One and real tiny in a corner somewhere?
I think that's very sci-fi to have those kinds of things in there.
Something Easter egg.
Yeah, I would love, but that's like I would love more of the contrasting colors that are in the components to be on the box to really make this stand out, because I think the presentation of this box does not do the game itself much justice, because there's a whole lot in here that's just not expressed.
I want it to be night sky colored. Instead of beige, I want it to be night sky. I think if it was night sky colored, I think it would stand out significantly.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and I get what they're going for here. They're going for the look of the maps that they were drawing during this time period, and like the charts that they were drawing.
If you look at the art of all the planets, it's not photorealistic art.
Right.
It's hand drawn.
Yeah, exactly. So I get what they're going for, and it's super cool that it's period appropriate. But just like if someone hasn't sat and told you, hey, like you got to play this game, then you look at this box like maybe I pass. It's something that's a little more colorful and attention grabbing.
I was gonna say I only have two small nitpicks. One is it's really hard to get tiles out and slide them when you have to move them. That's my only look nitpick. And then it took until probably last 3 turns until I remembered all of the actions I have to do per turn.
Yeah.
Because there's so much going on simultaneously that we missed. You can go back in the video. We missed moving tiles. Probably for a solid hour of gameplay.
We definitely did a little bit.
I missed that a lot. I don't know how much you guys missed it.
I missed quite a few.
Well, that kind of thank you for providing the perfect segue into my next kind of thing is that.
What did Chad pick up this time?
I feel like that should be that's definitely a segment. That's a segment. I love that. The components, I think the components are fine. Like they're just fine, right? Like the cards aren't linen, which makes me a little nutty because they're harder to manipulate. But my biggest gripe is the fact that there are only 2 player aids. They're not particularly helpful. Well, okay, we made that mistake where I thought they were, but that really just proves my point because they were stuck together.
It's just really funny.
They were stuck together, so I thought there was one.
2 more are going to appear, and if we find them, we will call Rick out in a video. It's going to be
okay, cool.
I'll walk into frame with 2 more.
If that happens, it'll be hilarious for us.
That'll be my face reveal. I'll walk in with both the cards covered.
Let's even just assume. So number 1.
If there were 4.
So there are 2. We'll just get that out of the way. There are definitely 2. But if there were 4...
Is the point you're going to make that the player aids suck? Because I think they suck.
Okay, thanks. We'll just go with it then. So yeah, I think the player aids kind of sucked, right? Like, this is a game that lives and dies by its iconography, right? Because everything on the board, on the cards, everything it's addressed by the iconography.
And
the player aid does not have the iconography on it. It does not.
Means. It's just like, here's some more pictures.
I feel like this would have been really easy to have a 4-player, 2-card solution that has the current player aid on it, and then another card that has the iconography. I think they could have easily fit it, and it would have really enhanced the experience of this game because we kept having to go back to the book to verify what the iconography meant. And in a game that's so heavy with it, that's just kind of a drag.
Yeah, and maybe I missed it, but Seven Wonders is a game that has a ton of iconography, but in the back, here's all of the iconography and here's descriptions of it. Like there's a spot, here's every icon. And this didn't have a spot where everything was there.
Most everything is on the back of the book.
Most of it is. Yeah, but there was a few things that I looked up that wasn't there and I had to go looking for it and I didn't find it, so I had to just I'm pretty sure it means this.
Yeah. But at this point, and I'm sure I'm gonna, if we're on this channel for a while, I'm sure I'm gonna say it many, many more times. It's 2025.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. You don't say it that much.
It's 2020. It's 2025. we know what effective player aids look like. I feel like these boxes should have effective player aids, and they can't be that hard to produce. Maybe it's like a thing where they cut the sheets in a certain way that's hard, but it's fair, tough to justify not having them.
To be fair, though, we usually complain about the rule book, and we're not really complaining about the rule book.
No, the rule book was pretty solid, but it's just the... But, and I feel this is like a contrast maybe with Galactic Cruise, is whereas Galactic Cruise, there were a lot of rules hidden in like tooltips, and this everything was pretty straightforward in that when a phase was described, it described the entire phase. Yeah. I just wish that in a game as icon-driven as this one, there was a cleaner player aid that had all that iconography on it.
I got a very minor gripe, and it's these guys. Actually, not these, but these are the same thing. So on the edge, these little chits that don't come off where it tears.
Oh, yeah.
So on your board, you have the round pieces, and they just stick together. So then you got like that space that you can't clear off.
Yeah.
Really made me just wish I had some sandpaper while I was sitting at the table.
Yeah, I get that.
A little bit.
But I think that's all I've got on as far as like fumbles. What do you guys think? Anything else we missed?
Yeah, I don't even think it fumbles that much. I know we talk about artwork a lot, but my point was I thought they did a good job with it for what it is.
For as long as we've complained about it,
beautiful.
Everything
I know
it is small.
It's one of those things where I feel like it was a little nitpicky, but
it's really fun to complain.
Yeah,
though.
It is really really fun. Okay, so if we apply the rubric that I developed for our solo games, like.
Developer.
Looking at this game as part of our collection, like where we want it to be. So, like in our
was like a must, or five was
a must-have, solid choice. Shoot, now I've forgotten my own scale.
I don't remember I didn't notice what 3 was.
Yeah, 3 is like a decent fit.
You actually watch these.
I mean, it's pretty much just a 1 to 5 scale.
Yeah, essentially, but it's evocative.
This is one of those games that. For certain people, it's going to be a strong choice. Like if you like astronomy, and you don't mind your games being a little bit heavier than some of the more accessible, party games that everybody plays, then this is the game for you. It's a great choice. If you really really like Cards Against Humanity, why are you on this channel?
Tell us how you feel, man.
Hot take.
I'll tell you how I feel. That is not a game.
It's an activity.
It's not a game. I mean, it's not even it's barely an activity. It's barely an activity.
I mean,
so
it's a game by the definition of the word. It is not a board game, however.
No, it's not a game.
So back to this game that we're talking about. What are we thinking?
I think that
strongly recommend.
For some people, it's going to be a 4. For some people, it's going to be a little bit heavy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it would go down to like a 3. But it's definitely not in the bad section.
Yeah.
As a person interested in astronomy and always enjoying art, that's solid 4. I can't recommend it for everybody for the exact same reasons, which is why it's not a 5 out of 5. But it's a strong 4.
Yeah. I'm gonna call I myself am gonna call this a strong choice. Especially, I always tilt my opinions towards the hobby board gamers, like kind of the people that in our hobby that are going to dump about an hour and 20 minutes into this game. Oh God! If I'm the pro gamer, we got problems.
Correct.
Thanks.
Welcome.
This is so much different when I do this by myself.
You don't get ribbed as much.
Yeah, I know. That's true.
You're like, I get absolutely roasted by other people.
Well, I guess sometimes my wife roasts me from upstairs, but I edit that out.
This is why I stay in my basement by myself.
Okay, so even faster. I'm just gonna get out of here. Super solid choice. I think that despite the box art, there's just so much in here, and I think that this is a game that I don't quite want to call it a box top game that you're going to play 100 times with your friends and have stories about it. But when you're thinking about a game night where you're going to want a little bit of variability, you want a medium weight Euro, you want something that's going to be accessible not only to your pro gamers like me apparently, but also the folks that
Rick, look at your wall behind you.
That's just buying stuff. And
farm league
literally anyone can buy stuff.
Farm league gamer.
So yeah, that's where I am. I put the graphic up. That's where it is. So yeah, super solid choice. I did not see this one coming. I did not expect this one to be as good as it was. I was lucky that somebody gave me this recommendation.
Pink Troubadour.
Yeah, and it was because of Capstone. Like,
yeah, I mean, this is from Capstone, right?
Yeah, Capstone picked this one up, and it's honestly it's a little bit because Capstone has such a track record of putting out games that I really like that I gave it a shot, and yeah, just really super pleased with it. It's going to be one that's going to stay in my collection for a while, so I would definitely say incredibly solid choice for an ad.
I would play it again, sure.
Oh,
100%,
especially because I'm Johannes Kepler.
Again. Oh yeah, all and you know you learn astronomy, I guess, and how to not pronounce all these Copernicus.
Yeah, if somebody was like, "Hey, I've got Galileo Galilei, would you like to play it?" I'd be like, "Yeah, I would."
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Can I get that one more time?
Galilei. Galilei.
I can't wait to get roasted over pronunciation. I just can't wait.
His name is Galileo Galilei.
I've
been to his house.
I've been to his house.
Yeah, when I was in Italy.
What were you? Okay, I thought we were making jokes.
No.
Yeah, I thought we were too.
It'd be a lot more fun if we were.
Okay, as fun as this bourbon fueled ramble is, I think that's all we got tonight. It's a school night, so I'll get these guys out of here.
School night.
Everyone, thanks for joining us on our playthrough and review. Like and subscribe if you can stand us.
We work behind